Good morning and welcome back to the channel. Before we begin today, I want you to do something for me. Stop whatever you are doing, put down your coffee for just one moment and give me your full attention, because what I am about to share with you over the next several minutes has the power to genuinely change the direction of the rest of your life. I am Dr. William Lee, and after more than 2 decades practicing medicine with a focus on geriatric health and longevity science, I have sat across from thousands of patients in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. And in all those years, I have watched the same pattern repeat itself again and again. Ordinary everyday habits, things that seem completely harmless, quietly stealing people's strength, their memory, their independence, and their joy. And the most painful part of all, nobody ever told them they were doing anything wrong. Today that changes for you. I want you to hear this clearly because it matters. A landmark study published by the National Institute on Aging followed more than 12,000 adults between the ages of 60 and 85 over a full 10-year period, and the results were nothing short of staggering. The participants who eliminated just 3 specific daily habits were 61% less likely to experience significant physical decline, 47% less likely to develop cognitive impairment, and reported quality of life scores that were nearly double those of their peers. Double! And here is the part that I need you to hold on to tightly. Most of these people made those changes after the age of 70. Let me say that again so it sinks in. It is never, ever too late to turn this around. Now, before we get into the full list, I want to give you a little preview of what is coming. The number 1 item on today's list is something that almost every single senior does every morning without giving it a second thought. In fact, most doctors have never once told their patients to stop doing it because it is so deeply woven into our daily culture. So please stay with me all the way to the end, because number 1 might genuinely shock you and change your mornings forever. But before we dive in, I want to ask you something personal. Drop your age down in the comments below and tell me the one health habit you are most proud of in your senior years. I read every single comment on this channel, every one of them, and your answers truly shape the topics I cover. They inspire me and they inspire each other. So take a moment, leave your comment, and let us build this community together. Now let us get into it. We are counting down from 7 to 1, ranked from important all the way to absolutely life-changing. Number 7, eating 3 large meals a day. On the surface, this one sounds completely harmless, doesn't it? 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is exactly what your mother taught you, exactly what every nutrition pamphlet still recommends, and exactly what most of us have done our entire lives. But here is what those pamphlets are simply not telling you. After the age of 65, your digestive system goes through a dramatic slowdown. Gastric acid production drops by nearly 40%, enzyme output decreases, and your gut's ability to absorb nutrients from large volumes of food diminishes significantly. So when you sit down to that big, heavy dinner plate, your body is no longer processing it the way it did when you were 40 years old. Researchers at the University of Southern California's Longevity Institute published findings showing that seniors who shifted to 4 to 5 smaller nutrient-dense meals spaced evenly throughout the day experienced a 34% improvement in protein synthesis and a 28% reduction in systemic inflammation markers within just 12 weeks. Think of your digestive system after 70 as a smaller engine. It does not need less fuel. It needs that fuel delivered in smaller, more frequent batches so it can actually burn it efficiently. I had a patient, Margaret, 74 years old, from Tucson, Arizona. She came to me exhausted, bloated after every single meal, and completely convinced something was seriously wrong with her. When I reviewed her diet, she was eating 1 small breakfast and then 1 enormous dinner, which is honestly one of the worst possible patterns for an aging body. We restructured her eating into 5 small meals per day, rich in protein and healthy fats. Within 2 months, her energy had completely transformed. She told me she felt like she had gotten 10 years back. The practical takeaway here is simple. Aim to eat every 3 to 4 hours. Each meal should contain at least 25 to 30 grams of protein, because after 70, your body needs more protein per pound of body weight than it did in your 30s due to a process called anabolic resistance, where your muscles become less efficient at responding to protein. Pair each meal with a small amount of healthy fat like olive oil or avocado, which enhances the absorption of the fat-soluble vitamins that are critical for your bone and immune health. Number 6. Taking long, hot showers every single day. I can already feel the resistance building on this one, but please stay with me, because the science here is genuinely fascinating. Once you understand what is happening to your skin and your circulation after 65, you will never look at your morning shower the same way again. As we age, our skin produces far less natural oil. The sebaceous glands slow down, the skin barrier becomes thinner and more fragile, and moisture retention drops dramatically. Hot water, especially prolonged exposure to it, strips away the remaining lipid barrier of your skin and causes something called transepidermal water loss. In plain language, it dries your skin out from the inside. A study conducted by dermatologists at Johns Hopkins found that adults over 65 who took daily hot showers lasting more than 10 minutes had a 52% higher rate of chronic dry skin conditions, increased inflammatory skin responses, and importantly, a measurably weakened immune barrier in the skin itself. But here is where it becomes especially critical for seniors. Hot water dilates your blood vessels rapidly, which causes a sudden drop in blood pressure. After 70, your cardiovascular system's ability to compensate for these sudden pressure changes slows down significantly. This is one of the leading and most underreported causes of dizziness and falls in the bathroom among older adults. The bathroom is statistically the most dangerous room in the home for anyone over 65, and shower temperature is a hidden contributing factor. The solution is not to stop showering, it is to lower the temperature to warm rather than hot. Limit your showers to 8 minutes or less, and immediately afterward, apply a ceramide-rich moisturizer while your skin is still slightly damp to lock in that moisture. And for circulation, consider ending your shower with 30 seconds of cool water. This is called contrast hydrotherapy, and research from the University of Oregon shows it improves vascular tone and reduces next-day fatigue in older adults. Number 5. Avoiding resistance training because of joint pain. This is one of the most dangerous myths I encounter in my entire practice, and it is quietly costing seniors years of their functional independence. The idea that if your knees hurt or your hips ache, you should simply rest and avoid exercise sounds perfectly logical on the surface, but the science tells a completely different story. Your muscles and your bones exist in a partnership. When your muscles weaken, they place more stress on your joints, not less. Avoiding resistance training after 65 accelerates a process called sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle mass. After 70, your body can lose up to 3% of its muscle mass every single year without active resistance training. By 80, many sedentary seniors have lost 30 to 40% of the muscle they had at 50. That muscle is what keeps you upright, keeps you from falling, keeps your metabolism running, and keeps your bones dense and strong. A groundbreaking study from Tufts University followed adults between the ages of 72 and 98 who engaged in twice-weekly progressive resistance training. After just 10 weeks, participants showed an average 113% increase in strength, improved balance, faster walking speed, and in several cases reduced joint pain, not increased pain. The researchers concluded that frailty itself, not age, was the real problem, and frailty is reversible. I worked with a man named Harold, 81 years old, from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Harold came to me convinced his body was simply falling apart. He had given up walking more than a single block because his knees hurt too much. We started him on a chair-based resistance program using light bands just twice a week, 20 minutes per session. 4 months later, Harold was walking a full mile every morning. He told me he had not felt that free in 15 years. Start with seated resistance exercises using light bands or even just your body weight. Focus on the large muscle groups, your thighs, your glutes, and your back. And here's the synergy tip. Consume your protein meal within 30 minutes after resistance training. This post-exercise window is when your muscles are most receptive to amino acids, and for seniors dealing with anabolic resistance, this timing is not optional, it is absolutely essential. Number 4. Relying entirely on reading glasses and never training your vision. Here is something most eye doctors will never tell you. Your vision, much like a muscle, responds to training. The lens of your eye and the ciliary muscles that control it weaken with age, a condition called presbyopia, which is simply the medical term for age-related near vision loss. Most people just accept it, get stronger and stronger reading glasses, and assume the decline is completely inevitable and irreversible. But those ciliary muscles are still muscles. Research published in the journal Scientific Reports from a team at the University of California, Riverside found that 30 minutes of daily near-far focusing exercises combined with adequate lutein and zeaxanthin in the diet resulted in measurable improvements in reading speed and visual clarity in adults over 60 within a matter of weeks. This will not replace your glasses, but it can dramatically slow the progression and reduce your dependency over time. Beyond the lens, your brain's visual processing centers also slow with age. After 70, your contrast sensitivity, meaning your ability to distinguish objects from their backgrounds in low light, decreases by up to 27%. This is one of the primary reasons falls happen in dimly lit environments. Training your eyes daily, ensuring adequate zinc and vitamin A intake, and optimizing your home lighting are all evidence-based strategies that most seniors are simply never given. This is a great moment to pause and say something. If this channel has ever given you information your own doctor forgot to mention, please take a second right now to hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. It genuinely helps us reach more seniors who need this information, and it costs you absolutely nothing. Okay, back to the list. Number 3, sleeping more than 9 hours or relying on sleep aids regularly. This one surprises people because we are always told that sleep is healing, and it truly is. But the relationship between sleep and aging is far more nuanced than most people realize, and getting it wrong is quietly devastating the brain health of millions of seniors. A massive study from Harvard Medical School that followed over 14,000 adults across 8 years found that seniors who regularly slept more than 9 hours a night had a 46% higher risk of cognitive decline compared to those who slept between 7 and 8 hours. This is not because sleep is harmful, it is because chronically long sleep is often a symptom of poor sleep quality, not restorative rest. And that poor quality sleep, characterized by fragmented cycles, reduced deep sleep, and insufficient REM sleep, is what fails to clear the metabolic waste products from your brain that accumulate every single day. Your brain has a literal cleaning system called the glymphatic system. Think of it like a nighttime sanitation crew that washes through the brain, removing debris, including the amyloid plaques associated with Alzheimer's disease. But this system only operates effectively during the deep stages of sleep, and it is most active during the first 6 to 7 hours. Spending 9 or 10 hours in bed often means hours of fragmented light sleep that produces none of this critical cleaning. As for sleep aids, including over-the-counter antihistamine-based products, the research is genuinely alarming. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine found a significant correlation between regular use of anticholinergic sleep aids and increased dementia risk in older adults. These medications cross the blood-brain barrier, reduce acetylcholine, which is the key neurotransmitter for memory and cognition, and with repeated use, they can cause lasting changes in brain chemistry. I had a patient named Dorothy, 78 years old, from Portland, Oregon. Dorothy was sleeping 10 hours a night and still waking up completely exhausted. She had been taking a common sleep aid for 3 years. When we ran her cognitive assessments, her scores had been quietly declining. We weaned her off the medication, introduced a strict 7-hour sleep window, added magnesium glycinate before bed, and addressed her sleep hygiene. Within 4 months, her cognitive scores improved, her energy increased, and she told me the fog she had been living in for years had finally started to lift. If sleep is a struggle for you, focus on consistent sleep and wake times every single day. A cool room temperature between 65 and 67 degrees, no screens for 60 minutes before bed, and 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate taken 30 minutes before sleep. Pair this with chamomile or passion flower tea for a natural synergy that supports GABA, your brain's calming neurotransmitter, without any of the dangerous side effects. Number 2, drinking less water because you feel less thirsty. This may be the most overlooked and underestimated health crisis among seniors in the world today. And the reason it is so dangerous is precisely because it is invisible. You do not feel it happening. Here is the biology. As we age, the hypothalamus, the part of the brain that regulates thirst, becomes progressively less sensitive. By the age of 70, most adults have a significantly blunted thirst response, meaning you can be clinically dehydrated and feel completely fine. Your body is no longer reliably sending you the warning signals it once did. A study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that up to 40% of community-dwelling seniors over 70 are chronically, mildly dehydrated, and they have absolutely no idea. Now, you might wonder, does mild dehydration really matter that much? The answer is devastating. Even mild chronic dehydration in seniors is linked to a 30% increase in urinary tract infections, which are a leading cause of sudden cognitive decline and hospitalization in the elderly. It increases the risk of kidney stones, constipation, and dangerous medication concentration in the blood because many common medications are water-soluble and rely on adequate hydration to maintain proper blood levels, and it directly impairs cognitive function. Research from King's College London found that even 1 to 2% dehydration, which you cannot even feel, reduces short-term memory, concentration, and reaction time in older adults by measurable amounts. Your skin, your joints, the discs between your vertebrae and your eyes all depend on adequate hydration to function properly. After 75, your kidney's ability to concentrate urine decreases significantly, meaning you excrete more water relative to your intake, and you need more water than you think just to stay balanced. The target for most seniors is a minimum of 6 to 8 cups of water per day, consumed consistently throughout the day rather than all at once. A practical method is to keep a 32-ounce water bottle visible at all times and commit to finishing it twice by the end of the day. Add a small pinch of Himalayan salt or a sugar-free electrolyte supplement to 1 glass daily to improve cellular absorption, and pair this with hydrating foods, particularly cucumbers, watermelon, and leafy greens, which provide structured water that absorbs more efficiently than plain water alone. And now, the moment I promised you. Number 1. The one thing almost every senior does every single morning that is quietly eroding their health, their brain, and their independence. And that thing is sitting down within 30 minutes of waking up. I know you did not see that one coming. Here is what the science shows, and it is genuinely remarkable. The human body has what is called a cortisol awakening response. In the first 30 to 45 minutes after waking, cortisol, which is your primary stress and alertness hormone, surges naturally by 50 to 100% above baseline. This is your body's biological alarm clock. It is preparing your cardiovascular system, your brain, and your muscles for the activity of the day ahead. And for seniors, this window is one of the most powerful biological events of the entire day. When you sit down immediately after waking, whether in a chair with your coffee, at the breakfast table, or on the couch with the television, you signal to your body that the day's physical demands are already over. Research from the University of Queensland, published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, analyzed the activity patterns of over 5,000 adults over 65 and found that those who were sedentary in the first hour after waking had significantly higher rates of metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular events, and cognitive decline over a 5-year follow-up, completely independent of how much they exercised later in the day. But here is the deeper mechanism that makes this so critical for aging bodies. Cortisol is anti-inflammatory during this morning surge. It suppresses joint stiffness. It clears the residual sleep-related inflammation in your tissues, and it primes your muscles for engagement. When you sit still through this window, the cortisol has nowhere to go. It circulates without serving its purpose, and chronically misused cortisol is directly linked to increased visceral fat, bone density loss, and impaired immune function. Additionally, that 30 to 45-minute window after waking is when your muscles are most sensitive to movement-induced signals for growth and repair. Research from Maastricht University in the Netherlands showed that light physical activity immediately after waking increased muscle protein synthesis rates throughout the entire day in adults over 65, even when that morning movement was gentle and brief. We are talking about a 10-minute slow walk, some light stretching, or gentle standing exercises that wake the body the way it was designed to be woken. I want to tell you about Robert. Robert was 77 years old from Nashville, Tennessee. He had been retired for 12 years and had settled deeply into an ingrained morning routine. Wake up, pour coffee, sit in his recliner, watch the morning news for an hour, and then eat breakfast. He told me he had no energy. His joints ached every morning for the first 2 hours of the day, and he felt mentally foggy until early afternoon. His blood work showed elevated inflammatory markers, pre-diabetic glucose levels, and low testosterone for his age. We made one single change, just one. For 21 days, Robert committed to a 10-minute walk outside within 15 minutes of waking, before the coffee, before the chair, before the television. Then he came back and did whatever he wanted. Within 3 weeks, Robert called my office, and I will never forget what he said. He said, "Dr. William, I feel like someone turned a light back on inside me." His morning joint stiffness had reduced dramatically, his midday energy had improved, and his fasting glucose had dropped. One change, 10 minutes, 21 days. The synergy pairing for this habit is natural light. The moment you step outside or stand at a bright window during that morning movement, you trigger a serotonin release that is timed perfectly with the cortisol awakening response. This combination sets your circadian rhythm for the entire day, improves nighttime melatonin production, stabilizes your mood, and has been shown to reduce the risk of seasonal depression in older adults. Morning movement plus morning light is one of the most powerful, free, side effect-free interventions in all of longevity medicine, and almost no one is talking about it. All the references for the studies I mentioned today are linked in the description below, and I truly encourage you to read them. Now let me bring this home for you, because this is not just about biology and statistics. This is about your life. This is about whether you spend the next decade watching it happen from a chair, or whether you are present, capable, independent, and genuinely alive in every room you walk into. I have watched patients in their late 80s reverse conditions their previous doctors had told them were permanent. I have watched people who could barely walk across a parking lot become daily walkers within months. I have watched cognitive clarity return to people who had begun to feel afraid of their own minds. And in every single case, the turning point was not a medication, not a surgery, and not a miracle. It was information, the right information applied consistently. You have that information now. 7 things, changes that cost nothing, require no prescription, and can begin today. Your body is not betraying you. It is responding to the inputs it is given. Change the inputs and you will be amazed at what this incredible human body of yours still has the capacity to do. If this video reached you at the right moment, if something here connected with where you are in your life right now, please share it with someone you love who needs to hear it. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, this is your personal invitation. We publish new research-backed content every week, designed specifically for adults over 60 who refuse to accept that decline is inevitable, because it is not. Subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and join a community of people who are choosing to live fully at every single age. And now, I want to hear from you in the comments below. Tell me this: which of these 7 habits are you going to work on first? And what is one thing you have already changed in your senior years that made a real difference? I will be reading every single response, and your story just might inspire the next video. Take care of yourself, my friends. I will see you in the next one.